What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri zone, and welcome back to a transfer window video. I know it's crazy to talk about transfers, I guess, but at the end of the day, you still need to build a squad. Who's going to build the squad? I have no idea. All the names coming out, and I have no idea who's on power, who has the power, who's in charge. What I do know is that the team is not complete, and we need to do some business. And some might believe, and with some I mean the media, that Vlahovic now has chances to stay at the club. I refuse to believe that at this moment in time. So we're going to focus on the strikers, because we're going to need a striker, and there are three names out there. Actually, there are four names, but I want to refuse to talk about one. It's Gyökeres, it's Oshimen, it's Retegui, and it's Hojlund. The last one I actually want to refuse to talk about, but we're going to talk about him as well, and why Gyökeres right now sounds a bit more realistic than it sounded, I'm going to say, 2 weeks ago, a week ago. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about it. Okay, so we were told it's Oshimen. It's Oshimen, it's Oshimen, and Hojlund is also an opportunity. However, that was also always based on Juntali is going to say, and he has a preference for certain players, Oshimen and Hojlund. Now, a lot of things are changing, and you know that with new people, new ideas, or different ideas, let me say that. Different views, different opinions, and so on, etc. The Gyökeres one is interesting for a simple reason that he's not a player Juntali really wanted. So he's not that profile as well. He's not his profile. And up to 2 weeks ago, everybody was kind of convinced he's going to Arsenal. Now it's shifted. Arsenal are pushing for Sesko. Chelsea are signing Delap. Is he going to be the main guy, Delap? Maybe not. I'm not so certain about that. Probably not, you would assume. And Man U are trying to get in the race, but they don't play Champions League, which is a big thing for Gyökeres himself. He or his management let know a couple of weeks ago. And the price tag, that is, he has a release clause of around 65 million euros, which is a lot cheaper than Oshimen, which is not cheaper than Retegui and Hojlund. However, it's closer, to that one. So Gyökeres, for example, well, his scoring record is actually ridiculous. You can flip it by saying it's a Portuguese league. And I might say you might be right. I guess it's a Portuguese league. I'm not even sure what that means. When you take, I think I always believe if a player is good enough, he's just good enough. Period. If he's doing that in the Portuguese league or in the English league, it doesn't really change. If you have a talent to score goals, you have a talent to score goals. And his talent to score goals is ridiculous, because it's not a one-off 25 goals a season. Like, it's actually ridiculous. And the type of goals, the finishes, like the variety, excuse me, of different goals, different type of goals he scores is also impressive. That's just the reality. Do you spend 65 on him or Oshimen? And Oshimen will cost more, but also you're giving that money to Antonio Conte and Napoli to improve even more so. A direct rival. Now, Oshimen is going to leave anyway, if it's a Saudi or if it's to us. So Napoli are going to get that money anyway. But do you want to be the team handing Napoli that money? That's two. Three, the wages. Hojlund is on ridiculous wages. Hojlund is ass. He's awful. Like, he's absolutely awful. You just keep Vlahovic at that point. So that is a thing I refuse to talk about. The other name is Retegui, top scorer of the Serie A. Did well at Genoa as well. So it's not, obviously not the top scorer at Genoa, with Genoa and Serie A. So it's not really a Gasperini thing, you might say. But Atalanta won close to 50 million. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not, like, I like Retegui, but I don't like him for 50 million euros. I just don't, I'm not, I don't like those type of the profile, the way he plays. Like, he's a good finisher, but 50 million euros, I think it's too much. I think it's way too much for for a player like Retegui, with, yes, he can score goals, but he also has his limitations, in my opinion, to pay. Every player has limitations, by the way. Every player has those. But if we pay 50 million, I don't know about that. Like the limitations should be, you know what? He's not fantastic. I don't know. He's not good with headers or something. However, he still managed to score 30 plus goals with his right and his left foot. I'm like, okay, he's not good aerially. It is what it is, but he can still convert a lot of goals. Then I can live with that. But with Retegui, there's always something that feels off with him. And I know a lot of people are scared to get another Atalanta player, because that's not going well for anyone, unless maybe Gasperini joins Juve, and then you're like, oh, you know what, cup miners, Retegui, it will all fix itself again. But the Gyökeres one is interesting because when it was so spot on or bang on, he's going Arsenal or Chelsea, it's now kind of fading away slightly. Is that because they don't believe in Gyökeres and they actually think it's a Portuguese league and he's limited or whatever? But man, like, he's just a natural goal scorer, period. Like, on an insane rate, even in the Champions League, like the rate he's scoring goals on is actually unbelievable. It's off the charts. It's off the charts. Portuguese league or not, Or do you want Oshimen, who I also think is a good player and can score goals, a variety of goals, not tap-ins or pants. Like, he has a very good technique, in my opinion, as well. He misses a lot of chances, but whatever. He converts a lot of them as well, So that is an issue in itself, creating a lot of chances. That is not the striker problem. That's a team problem, midfield problem. I don't know what it is, So that's that. But when it comes to the striker market, it will be very interesting. It will be interesting what the club will do. I'm kind of looking forward um, to discover basically what the club is willing to do when it comes to signing, for example, Gyökeres or Oshimen, or go for Retegui, or pay the money for Hojlund, which is an absolute disaster. Or maybe they have another thing. Maybe they have something else lined up. Maybe they have a different type of idea. But it's actually interesting because what we thought was basically a bit dead on is now all over the place because of Juntali, the situation with Juntali, and the market as well, what the market dictates, and the Premier League is dictating at this moment in time, So anyways, let me know in the comments before you like the video, who you prefer. Is it keeping Vlahovic? Is it just keeping Colomani? Is it signing Gyökeres, Oshimen? Are you a fan of Hojlund? Should we pay 45? No. Yeah, 45, 50 million euros for Retegui, or do you have another solution you want to bring up? So yeah, let me know, and then we will speak again very soon. Ciao.